What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the second ever interview of the Refreshing the Feed podcast. I'm here with my good friend, Julian Falcone. Julian, I've wanted you on for a long time, and I know you as Julian. Most people know you as Falc1, the legendary Falc1.
You know, we're trying to spread the movement.
Big time artist. For those of you who don't know and you're listening, Julian's been making music for, 3 years now?
4.
4 years, yeah. 4 years, released you have two albums. Two full albums, yeah. And then an EP.
Yeah.
Yeah. And originally he was half of the 108, and now he's solo dolo, No Bad Blood.
We still actually got some music coming out with the 108, but yeah.
Well, just starting off, I know you as Julian, obviously, like I said. People know you as Falc1. So you got Falc1, obviously, from your last name.
Yeah.
As Falc1, Falcone is same shit.
Yeah, just broke it up.
It's good. You like, obviously, your like symbols, like the falcon.
Yeah, it's kind of...
That's kind of like the
logo,
nickname.
Yeah.
Going through all like everything involved with the music. But in terms of branding, I know you have two types of brands right now. So you're dealing with one person that does sort of your cover art, and then you have also those Falc1 that you're
the merch, a
little bit of merch, right? So do you expect in the near future to have some more merch coming out?
I'd like to. I think it's a great way for artists to promote their music without kind of just putting it in people's faces, like, oh, listen to my music,
yeah.
right? Because if I'm constantly posting that, like, some people, right, if you don't know me as like an artist and you don't know my music yet, it's just like, yo, who's this annoying guy on social media, like, keep telling me to listen to his music. Whereas if you like a certain top or like a logo and you see other people wearing it and you see the name Falc1, wait, wasn't that the guy who was making music? It's kind of like free publicity, right? So I'd love to do more merch, expand that. I feel like it's just free marketing, right? Like, anytime people see you or see these people, it's just a great way to
makes sense.
Yeah.
So like I think I know roughly where it all started, but what I know in high school you practiced with music a lot.
Yeah.
You were sort of the big singer of the group. But I want to know what was like the beginning of where you said, listen, like this is a career I want to pursue. I know you're at Ryerson right now for a somewhat different program, but what was the moment like that said, okay, you know what, like I want to be, like, fuck it, I'm gonna be a singer, like that's what I want to do. I'm not a singer, like I want to be an artist.
Yeah, I think.
You know what I mean?
Honestly, I think it, like, I started singing and like writing like silly songs, or like, in a sense, like, there's a video of me when I'm 5 and I'm just twiddling like a pen, and I'm just like trying to make like a rhyme or whatever. Obviously, it's jokes, right? Like, it's a little kid, but I think like ever since I was like 8, 9, 10, around that age, I was like, well, this is like the only option for me, right?
Yeah.
I would always do like the talent shows in elementary school.
Yeah.
I loved performing, and then going to high school, like you said, like I knew I wanted to go into the arts program. I knew I wanted to do music, so it was just something that I always knew I wanted to do. And then in university, that's when I started to actually make my own music. I was always writing songs, but never recorded, right? Like never actually like in a studio
or actually with like mics, proper mics.
Exactly.
And shit. But like you said you were in the arts program, so do you think that you would have been as driven if you weren't in a program that like specifically focused your like what you wanted to do? Like, let's say, like, if you weren't in the arts program, would you have had enough of a drive to keep going with music and pump out maybe as much albums or whatever, however you want to quantify it, you know what I mean?
I think I would have. I think it was always something that I knew I wanted to do. The arts program just kind of was a way for me to get a little bit more exposure and like perform in front of people and meet new people who had kind of like the same creative minds. Like, that's where I met Peter, who goes by Mason Ivy, where like you were saying previously, the 108. That's where I met him. So you have people who have like the same creative drive as you, right? And so I feel like that was a good way for me to reach out to people and kind of connect with people, and I still have those connections with other people who aren't even my age, who have helped me out or given me a spot to perform in front of other audiences. So I feel like it was good for that, but I think I still would have been driven enough, because this is something that I wanted to do.
Exactly.
That I don't think the program necessarily made me want to do it even more, but it just kind of helped me connect with other people.
So did it give you? I think the way I saw it was it sort of gives you like a bit of more of like a background to music rather than like pushing you in the way like of where you want it to go. It sort of gives you like that foundation of like notes, like proper
exactly like the theory of music. I knew like nothing going into it. Like you have to like. There was a test that you had to do to like get in the program as well as like an audition, and the audition like I did well, but the test I knew like nothing. I knew absolutely nothing, right? But so it was good for me to actually like learn how to do harmonies and different things like that, and pick up on like how to like make because really even now like when I make a song, it's mainly just from like me like babbling, but I don't know like the technical side of it, right? Whereas with being in the arts program, it kind of helped me know more of like a technical side,
a structured version
like,
of
kind
yourself.
Of like if I'm in a studio and somebody's bringing out a piano, like, and they're showing me these notes, like I can identify what's going on, and I know. I like you don't want to look like an idiot, right? Like you want to have some technical background, right? Even if you're doing like rap or different genres like that, where you don't necessarily.
Yeah, well, that's a thing. That's a thing. That's like a lot of artists are more like on the hop. They're really like they're not super musically like knowledgeable, but they have like. Sort of like a sense of how to go over something, you know what I mean? Like, and the producer is usually the one that's like the big knowledge, like the big brain behind it, like OVO 40, and he's the one that's like planning it all out in his head, and he's making everything sound nice and look nice, and filters and EQ and all that, right? So like, even as an artist with that bit of background, but there is also artists that are like, of course, fucking, they know everything, right?
Yeah,
like
because even there's a lot of artists who are also producers, right? So they
that they just go ham and they can even do one by themselves. I know Kanye's like that, like tons of them, like Drake, Jay-Z, like all the big names are somewhat like that too. But so like, would you ever consider being like the producer also to your song? I know you said like maybe the software knowledge might not be there, but I think like, would you think that your music would be better or worse if it was just you on both sides of the ball, if you know what I mean?
Well, I think so. There's pros and cons, right? So the pros are like, if you're doing everything by yourself, going from you do like you're on your own agenda, right? Like I can come up with as many songs as I want. I have all the beats I have, and then it goes from like a money standpoint, right? And right now for me, it's not really about the money, right? Like I don't really care. I'm just trying to get my name out there. But if you're looking at it from more of a professional standpoint and like a career, if I'm my own producer and I'm my own everything, all the money's going to me. I don't have to split anything. I don't have to do like any of that. That's all coming to me, right? It's my full song. Everything is mine, right? Whereas now it's just like the lyrics and the songwriting, that's mine, right? But I feel like the negative side to it is I feel like you could kind of almost get in your own head where it's like you're constantly like, see, for me, making melodies is so easy. Like you give me 10 beats right now, I'll give you 10 songs in a week. You know what I'm saying? Like constantly I'll just think of a song a day. You know what I'm saying? But whereas for beats, I feel like that's where I kind of get in my own head. Does it need something else? Does it for songs? I know what it needs. It needs the lyrics. It needs the melody, right? I can add a harmony on top, an ad-lib, but for music, you need the main sound. Then you need the drums. You need the bass. And
then it all has to be mastered and mixed.
Right. So like I feel like that's where I would kind of get in my own head, where I could kind of slow myself down. So I feel like there's a pros 100%, but there's negative as well. But I feel like I would never limit myself to, I'm not going to use anybody else's beats. I'm a producer. I want to just use myself, right? Because I feel like that. And even now, like I don't want to just use one producer because there's so many people with so many talents that I'm using this producer's beat, that producer's beat, trying to get everyone's best work, right?
And working with them,
Exactly.
So like even more like there at one point there becomes like such a level of success, like eventually down the road where it's almost impossible to be all those occupations part of like the career, you know what I mean? Like you can't be the artist, the producer, the marketer, the merchandise handler, you know what I mean? Like there's at some point there's definitely where the like a point in time where the artist has to take a step back and be like, listen, I'm gonna rap, I'm gonna do whatever, and you guys got to handle this stuff, you know what I mean? Like at that point where it's like
your team.
You got to hire like a team, you know what I mean? Like I don't think there's anyone right now in the game that's been able to do all of it.
Yeah,
remotely close. I'm not even saying like the marketing and the merchandise and stuff like that, but more like you can't really name someone right now that really is like self-made, singular, like just that one person that's involved. No, 90% of the time, or if not 100% of the time, there's always like one extra person or 2 extra people that are sort of behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Like,
you think of like a Russ, right? Who like he would produce, engineer, everything was himself, like coming up. But once you get like there's a professional status, right? And like you're like you want other people in the studio to kind of vibe with it. Like, yo, this is fire. Oh, I hit my water. This is fire. Like what do you think, right? You kind of want other people's opinions, and it's also like. It's just a vibe. Like, when you make music, it's not something you want to do by yourself, right? It's like
when you see snippets and shit, like, and there's like 60 people, or not 60, but there's
there's people like 12 people, vibing in, like, the studio.
That's like, and that's another thing, like, snippets in general, I don't know why, but they sound like so much better, and you can justify that they sound so much better than the actual song. Because I honestly don't know why, and
I feel like it's like you see like the person vibing, they're also singing on top of it. So like you kind of get this whole like. I think it's more of the vibe. I think it's more of the vibe, right? It's like you're vibing with the person. It's kind of like when you see a music video, you're kind of like
that too.
You're kind of like relating to them, and you're seeing their face. Like, it's different when you see somebody's face, right? Like you get like a personal kind of connection to the song. Like I remember like. Did you watch the Travis Scott documentary?
Yeah.
So you know the part where it's on Netflix. You know the part where Drake sends him.
I was just about to say that he's in his kitchen or whatever.
Yeah, so like the song like that came after that obviously came out after the song was released, right? Usually snippets are before, but like my perception of that song changed because now every time I think of like Drake's part, I think of like all these guys like listening on the phone and just fucking they're like, yo, he killed this, right? Like, they're all going crazy in the kitchen, like you said. So like that's just.
The first one that pops into my head is ZZ. Do you remember the original?
I don't know if I ever saw the snippet.
Okay, there's originally a snippet of them. It's Kodak, Travis Scott, everyone was on the song, and they're in the studio, and they're just dancing, and the beat is just so hard. It's like someone's got to drop this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like the song is still great, but like. It's like when you add the lyrics and shit and you hear it like on a computer, on your headphones or whatever, it sort of just takes away just that little bit. Like it's just like fuck.
Because
like,
I think again,
it sounds so good.
Like
it's
you're
the
saying,
experience.
It's you're experiencing it with kind of like with them in like a group setting.
Yeah.
Whereas now you're just like obviously music's internally, right? Like you listen to it by yourself, but there's just a different thing where you're just vibing out with a bunch of people, right? It's just more hype.
You know who's benefited majorly off that? I think 6ix9ine. When he released those snippets before his songs, of him going fucking crazy and him just like screaming,
shit and
dancing on the tables and shit, like that shit, like going nuts, like that's amazing marketing. Like that just, it looks so good, it sounds so good, he's vibing, he's going crazy, and that shit like sells, right? Like that gets views, that gets likes, and then eventually just turns into song, like it translates over because tons of people are loving his songs and shit, and it just ends up going over to like YouTube and whatever, and Apple Podcast, Apple Music, holy fuck, Apple Podcast.
No, cause I even like speaking of 6ix9ine, I remember when he dropped the song with Tory Lanez, what's it called, Kika or some bullshit.
Yeah.
And like I heard Tory Lanez part, and I was like, yo, this is so hard. Like, you know, the bitch in the city, shit, right? Like, and they were in there. And I think he had like a bunch of girls around him, if I'm not mistaken, like in the. Where he was kind of cooking it up, and Tory Lanez wasn't even there. It was just him, and he was just vibing, and I was like, yo, this is gonna be a slapper. And then as soon as he released that album, that was the first song I listened to. Yeah. Like the snippet was just in my head.
It's good. Fuck, like those like that collab is like so unexpected, and it still worked. It worked amazing for some reason.
His album was so good because like. He had so many good like I'm not a big 6ix9ine fan. Like I honestly respect him for how he's marketed and kind of like trolled and he's got himself where he is with like the trolling and all that shit. But like the actual features on that album are just like so fire. Like like there's so many like
it's Nicki Minaj is on it.
Tory Lanez, Kanye, Gunna.
There's seriously good. Yeah, seriously good.
And they all kill it.
That's what I was gonna ask you actually. So I know roughly about like who you enjoy listening to, whether the most or whatever. But if there was somebody you had to collab with, eventually down the road, let's say, or even right now, fuck it. Like who do you think would complement your music the best? Let's say it's your song, for example.
Yeah.
Who do you think would complement your music, the best right now? It could be famous, could be sort of mediocre. It doesn't have to be like.
I feel like, so I have two. And like I feel like it would depend kind of the vibe that I would kind of go off.
Yeah.
So I feel like if I'm gonna do like one song where I kind of like show my voice and like show like the rasp in my voice and kind of really sing, I would love to do something with Post Malone and make it like a pop song that's kind of like
rockish
rap, like all those genres kind of mixed together. and I feel like we could kill that, or I could see myself just kind of using like my lower register, kind of singing like a smooth song, and kind of like having like a Drake on it, right, where he's kind of doing like a Marvin's Room style, right, where he's singing more. Like that would be like super dope. And obviously those are like two of my favorite artists
and two of the biggest names right now. Yeah.
And I just feel like both of them, I feel like in the studio would just be a totally different experience, but a totally like amazing experience in their own aspect.
Yeah, I feel like you would have to like, even anyone, like even like when Lil Baby went on Yes Indeed, no, not Yes Indeed. Yeah, it was on Yes Indeed with Drake. Yeah, right. Like I feel like anyone with those high caliber artists, I feel like when you're in the studio, you gotta take like a back seat. And the really, really good artists, the ones that don't just sit like throw you in the back seat and just say, "Let me just take care of it." You know what I mean? Like the really, really good ones are like, "Yo, let me get you in here, and like let's do this together, and then put some of your creative mind into this."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's how it works between them two.
I feel like a lot of it now is like, which sucks is I feel like, because a lot of the times it's like, yo, one person will be in LA, like let's say Drake will be in Toronto, and Drake will just send over a beat to like somebody in LA, and they'll go on it, right? And they'll send him it back. He's like, oh, I like this verse, I'll keep it on my album, or like sorry bro, whatever, and then I'll like he'll keep a bare ass.
Yeah, they're rarely, especially now during COVID, but they're rarely in the same.
But I feel like when you get like two people, like even when we saw with Travis Scott and thing, like they were in the studio together, he got it back in like a voice thing, right? So but I feel like when you get two people in the studio and like you get those like creative vibes like working together, it's just like it's a whole new level, right? It's like I feel like you can go from making one song to just crushing like 5 songs. Because I feel like from personal experience, when you're in like a studio and you have momentum going, it's just like nonstop. It's like, yo, give me another one, give me another beat, play another beat. I'm gonna go off on this. It's like there's a certain vibe where you know that you and like a producer or another artist are just clicking, and you don't want that to end. Sometimes like there'll be something that happens, like a technology glitch or something goes wrong. It's like, yo, why does this not sound right? And it just kills the whole mood. Yeah. So like when you're like really like honed into that zone and you got people around you and you guys are all vibing, like you never want to stop. It's totally different.
Exactly. I feel like that happens with, like, probably a good example is that is like Future and Drake, and like Kanye and Jay-Z. Like I feel like those, like the two that are like really good together, those two, like the pairings that are really good, I feel like they can just make like albums on top of albums, and like the throwaways are probably like
hits as well, right?
Terabytes worth, you know what I mean? Like and there's still like fucking bangers, but like aside from that, I still think you've collabed with Peter, obviously. And you've collabed with correct me, the producer.
Andre?
No. Andre's on your main producer.
Pavalon?
Yeah. Sorry. So like in the future, do you see yourself collabing a lot more, or would you find yourself more reserved to not reserved, like not that you're not open to it, but would you rather focus on your music and start like getting yourself more
I feel like
asserted,
I feel like right now where I'm at, right, and trying to expand out of my friend group, like out of this is the hardest thing, right? So I feel like the more stuff I can do in collabing with people who aren't in my inner circle is kind of the best thing for me, right? Because it's like the quickest way. It's like
it's networking. It's good networking.
It's like you never heard of Pavalon before I like linked up with him, right? And then now you're listening to one of his songs because your friend's on it, right? Yeah. So I feel like it's the same thing when I link up with other people like that. It's like, oh, well, who's this Falc1 guy? Let me check out some of his other songs. And it's like an easy way to get other listeners. Plus, it's kind of fun, like making music with other people, like we were just saying. So I feel like I would definitely still expand. And I actually have a song with Pavalon dropping, I think, April 2nd. So,
oh, shit. Boom.
First time I ever leaked out that information right here. Refresh the feed. You know what it is.
It's an exclusive look. Yeah. But like I just mentioned, so like, you have obviously collabed. I was asking you. You're open to it, obviously, but what I was trying to say was like, do you think your sort of thing would be impacted by collaboration? Like your personal level of...
I think no.
Like, you think it would be inclined or declined?
I think it would help, right? Because again, it's just more like any time that you can...
No, I'm saying you like musically.
Yeah.
Like musically, like your musical talents. Do you think it obviously it inclines? Oh,
you think I'm hindered with just like a kind of like a...
No, I mean like what I'm trying to ask is like, do you think like you should focus more on yourself in terms of your personal music? Would you think that
Yes,
do you
well,
work
I
better
think-
like that, or would you work better with like, let me collaborate with more producers and see what they have to offer and then move forward from there? You know what I mean by that?
Like you're saying, like I think I know what you're saying, but like, so let me answer it like this. I feel like, yes, I have to worry about like myself and like focus on like my stuff.
Yeah.
So like if I'm collaborating with another artist, I'm not just focusing on that. Like I need to have my own stuff.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was trying to
like,
say.
I'm not
yeah.
gonna just scrap my own stuff and just focus on that. Like
Yeah.
the only reason I'm doing that is to add on. Like I'm saying, like just to continue expanding, but I need my own stuff. My always my own stuff is the main thing, right?
Yeah.
Just every single other thing that I'm going on, like features and
Yeah,
other
it's
things,
just on the side.
it just adds on, right? It
Yeah.
never we're never taking away the main thing.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I was trying to get to. That's what I was trying to ask, if it takes away more from your personal music, but it's good. It's definitely good collaboration. It's definitely good media. It's definitely good like everything. It just works.
It just helps.
It just works, right? But yeah, I think this was great. I think we're gonna wrap it up there. I'm gonna give you a chance to let everybody know where we can find your music and what's new, what's coming up, what's.
I'll give the rundown. So my Instagram and where you guys can reach me is at its_Falc1, and then my artist name is Falc1, FALC, and then the number 1. You can find me on all streaming platforms. I actually just released a song last Friday called Take Over the Globe. You guys can stream that everywhere. I've been releasing songs like every 2-3 weeks, just keep trying to grind it out. The more music, the better. I have another song dropping March 26th. Another one April 2nd with Pavelon, April 16th by myself, and then another one April 30th. And that's kind of where I'm at right now with dates. But yeah, a lot of new music on the way. So a lot of things to be excited for in 2021. And yeah, can't wait to write some more.
Dope. So yeah, make sure you check out Falc1 on all streaming platforms right now. If you're listening to this, you can reach us obviously on all platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. If you're watching this, leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening to this, again, you can also hit us up on YouTube. You can watch us in full video. Moving forward, all of our videos will be in full video. For Instagram, you can hit us up on at refreshingthefeed_, on Twitter at RTF podcast_, and again on TikTok at refreshingthefeed_. Just to stay up with our trending topics and stuff we talk about on the weekly, and that's pretty much it for us. Falcone,
Falc1. Thank you for having me. Honestly, a pleasure.
Thank you for coming on.
Pretty dope. I love the setup in here. We got the stew.
The first ever recording in the studio.
We're coming up.
Thankfully, we're done and we're good in here. But yeah, thanks again for coming.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And that was Refreshing the Feed, and we'll see you next time. Ciao.